Hey everybody, welcome to Remedius Board Gaming. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today we're going to be doing an unboxing of Footprints. I'll also be telling you a little bit about the game and how it works, as well as a few reasons why I was super excited about this game and just had to get it right now. Footprints was designed by Alif Svensson, Geir Andre Wahlquist, and Asmund Svensson. Some of the other games they have worked on in the past are Revive, Doodle Dash, and Come Together. The artwork is by Andrea Alemano, and here are some other games they have worked on in the past as well. Footprints was only released this year in 2023, and it was published by Chili Fox Games. So this is a competitive racing style game for 1 to 6 players, and according to the box it takes around about 30 to 60 minutes to play. Chili Fox have given Footprints a 2 out of 3 chilies for a medium spice and difficulty. According to Board Game Geek, it's a 2.14 out of 5 for complexity rating. So take from that what you will, but from what I gather, it is not very difficult to learn or play. I'm not sure about the availability of this game yet. It's quite new, but I got my copy from Essenspiel. I didn't go, I just had a friend who did and arranged for him to bring one back for me. So thank you very much, Calvin. I appreciate you. Okay, so let's open it up and see what's inside. Oh, probably could have done this better. Okay, that's all right. Okay, let's have a quick look at this rulebook. So it's a very basic style rulebook. I mean, everything is clean and concise. I have already read this before. I basically downloaded the PDF as soon as I knew I was getting this game. And from what I can tell, very straightforward, very easy to read and learn. There aren't many difficult rules at all. And I think it's going to be one that you can sort of pick up and play quite easily just from reading the rulebook. And, you know, there's always going to be learn to plays probably on YouTube as well. Okay, so we've got 4 punch boards. Just quickly show you what these look like up close. I think Chili Fox have done a great job with these punch boards. I was not concerned at all about any of these edges tearing, so that's nice. And it is quite a thick stock of cardboard. Not sure if that comes across clearly, but I think it's around about 2 or 3 millimeters thick. So these are the player boards. I believe they're all asymmetric because I know these different symbols here mean they come with a different deck of cards that you use for your actions. I'm looking forward to testing out how these different ones work. And down at the bottom of the player boards, you can see the different spread of the terrain cards, I guess. Each player is going to have different sets of what terrain are in their decks, you know, that they can use for movement. This deck has mostly, I'm not sure what it's called, but there's light green, so maybe grass, and down here dark green, so maybe forest, something like that. I quite like these. They are reminiscent of the scythe boards. The back half of these boards is a little bit flimsy compared to the part that's over the top. The top bit is definitely thicker than the back. It's a bit softer, but overall, I think these are going to work just fine. It's an interesting choice of colors, we'll say that. They're almost like pastel in a way. Yeah, it's almost like a fluorescent green or lime. And even this light blue color. Unusual choice, you know, it's not your standard red, blue, yellow, you know what I mean? The pieces are a good shape, you know, they are very light, quite easy to pick up and grab. I'm guessing they slot in here. So as you upgrade your engine, you're going to move these tokens over, and that's going to tell you, you know, the value of what these, you know, functions can do for you. It also comes with a bunch of Ziploc bags, probably because of all the different types of tokens that we get. I'm not sure I'm going to end up using all of these bags. I feel like that is far too many. for such a small game like this. Here we've got some player reference cards. Yep, 6 of them. Here's a close-up look at the footprint cards. These are like your contracts. Essentially it says you need to do this thing at the top. If you do, you gain 6 points. If you don't, you get minus points. And I believe they all have a similar layout, but they all have different challenges on them. So here's a quick look at the fire cards. These, I think, are like one-time use actions that you can discard on your turn to gain the special ability that they grant you. So these ones here looks like you can move on that terrain if you play those. These ones seem to be pay this token in order to do these 2 things at the bottom. A couple other examples of what these cards can do. And the rest of the cards are just the 6 different player decks. So here we have, I'm not sure, like an archer or a hunter. We've got a deer, maybe a wild horse. Looks like a spearman or perhaps another kind of hunter, I'm not sure. Oh, I might get this wrong. This might be like an antelope or, you know, something like that, you know, something with horns. And the last one looks to be some kind of bird. Yeah, I'm not really sure, you know, they're meant to be sort of like caveman style, you know, pictograms or, you know, whatever it is. But yeah, I quite like this part of the art style. Like these all look really cool to me. It also comes with this little scoring pad for calculating, you know, in-game scoring. Looks to be maybe 20, maybe 30 sheets on here. If you're like me, you'll do the same thing that I did with Wingspan, and that's end up using every column twice just to make it stretch out a little bit more because, yeah, you know, who wants to waste other normal paper when you can just fit a little bit more on these? Yeah. Oh, we've also got these tokens. These are the player tokens that you're going to have on the map, you know, moving them around, collecting resources and doing actions and whatnot. I guess with this color choice, they're going for like, you know, like a cave painting style palette. I'm not really sure if that is correct, but that's what these colors, you know, spring to my mind when I look at them. So yeah, it's a nice little touch. I like it. And here are the other tokens that each player gets, depending on, you know, which character or deck they choose to play with. Just judging by, you know, the images on these tokens, right now my favorite is the antelope or buffalo or whatever this is. I like the look of the shape. You know, these ones are also cool, but for some reason I am resonating with this one. So I think on my first playthrough, I'm going to play with this one here. Okay, so I'm just going to finish punching out the rest of these boards and then quickly set up what the game will look like on the table just so you can see it. Okay, be right back. Okay, so I've set it all up now. It took me longer than I expected. There's quite a few components here, you know, that need to be placed and whatnot and sorted. But yeah, this is set up for sort of the basic 2-player game. Over here on the left, you know, players are going to choose one of these starting spots that will give you like a different bonus to begin the game with. So for example, this one gives you a fire card and you get to increase one of your tracks on your player board. And this one, for example, lets you increase your tracks twice. So, you know, depending on where you choose to start could have, you know, quite a big influence on how the game is going to go, you know, straight from the beginning. So I quite like that idea. One thing I didn't show you here is this is the cave that we are all racing to. Now, as you can see, if you are the first one to make it here, number one, that will trigger the end game phase. Because you're there first, you get 15 points, and so on. If you're second, you get 14, third, 13, and as you go down, it's worth less. So I want to tell you a few reasons why I've been looking forward to playing Footprints. For a while, I've been wanting to play another racing game that was a little less luck-driven and a little more strategic and thought-provoking. I know this game has many similarities to Quest for El Dorado, But that game is pretty hard to get hold of in New Zealand. All of our online stores here don't seem to have it in stock, and I haven't seen it in a physical store in a couple of years. So, next best thing, let's try something new with similar mechanics and aspects. So here we are. And as I said at the beginning, fortunately for me, I was able to get this one in from Essen's Spiel. I feel quite lucky to have this already. From what I can tell, it's kind of hard to get hold of. I do know I'm one of the few people in New Zealand to have it right now, so I'm quite excited to dive in. I also like games that can offer deep strategy with light gameplay and playtime. Games like A Fistful of Meeples or Azul. And I'm hoping Footprints will be able to bring some nail-biting moments to the table, because of the racing aspect, but also because of the crunchy, engine-buildy resource management side of thing. I know it's a vastly different game to A Fistful of Meeples and Azul, but that's where my mind takes this game for me, and where I hope that I can slot it into when I think about other games, to compare it to. Not about the mechanics that you get out of it, but more so about the kind of enjoyment that you get out of it. I like playing Azul because I find it to be super relaxing, but also super competitive if you want it to be. And same goes for A Fistful of Meeples. I love the Mancala style going around the board, but also the snatch and grab, this is mine now, So I'm hoping, this has some lighthearted, playful, competitive elements to it. I'm also excited to see how the hand management works. You've always got 4 cards in your hand. You play one and you draw one, and this sort of allows you to pre-plan at least your next 4 moves, because okay, I had that option, so now I could do one of these 3, and maybe it would be good to do this one first and then this one, but then hey, actually I don't know what I've got coming up, so maybe I won't overcommit and overplan for where I'm planning on going, because who knows, this one that you pick up next might completely change what you would do with these other cards that are still in your hand. I also like that there are a finite number of rounds. I think there's a maximum of 14 or 15, depending on which variant in the game you play. But also that could be cut short if somebody runs straight for the end of the game and triggers the end game early. It could be over in 6, 7, or 8 rounds, who knows. From what I've gathered, it's actually quite difficult to make it all the way to the end. Quick maths, there are 37 spaces to travel from, the starting point through your quickest route, but you're never going to be able to travel in a straight line, because you actually get advantages for traveling on the different terrain that your character is more suitable for. So that means zigzagging around in order to gain more movement, in order to pick up more stuff, in order to buy more stuff, and all that jazz. I hope you're picking up on what I'm explaining here, because it really is quite juicy. With the added bonuses that you get from these fire cards, can really mix things up. Some of these might come in clutch. Let's say you're not very good at traveling on ice terrain, but then you pick this one up, and what do you know? Suddenly you're pulling out combos. I like that idea. I think that's going to offer some exciting experiences in such a small and basic game. So I will point out a couple of cons to this. There is a lot of cardboard, okay? There's a lot of little bits floating around, like these cave areas here. It actually took me around about 10 minutes just to set this up after punching everything out, because I was sorting everything and then laying it out and then having to add these, and maybe I'm just slow at setting up the game, I'm not sure. But when I open the box and there's like 12 Ziploc bags, it does not encourage me to want to set up that game. I'd much rather just chuck everything into one big bag, tip it all out, and then sort it. Yes, that might add time, but also it saves time on the pack away. It's a small box, maybe 1.5 inches wide for our American friends if you're watching. Maybe 5 or 6 centimeters wide here if you're from anywhere else in the world. For some reason, the idea of having to open this up and unpack 12 Ziploc bags, I'm just, nah, not for me. Chuck it all in one big bag, deal with it when you want to play, and everybody knows that the pack down of a board game is the least fun. It's the least fun part of the experience, especially with big games. Not saying I would ever do that with Scythe, but little games like this, yeah, chuck it all in a bag, not worry about it. Another complaint is the art style on these tokens. I'm not sure why they've decided to do like a white rectangle behind the t-shirt or the axe or the hut or whatever. It just seems incomplete to me. You know, I would have much preferred if they just had the complete background of, you know, the ice, terrain or whatever these are meant to be. I don't know, it just seems weird. Especially this one, you know, with the t-shirt being edge to edge and then you've just got this jarring white rectangle, you know, top and bottom heavy. I don't get it. I think it would have been much more pleasing on the eyes if you just removed those white rectangles. But yeah, not a lot to complain about. Overall, I'm quite happy with the quality of the components. I think these boards could have maybe been a little bit better. See how the top layer is quite thick and the bottom layer is really thin. I just feel like that's a bit of an oversight. They do feel really flimsy. It's quite easy to push in. If that gets wet, it's buggered. Hopefully nobody spills any drinks on my board gaming table. So yeah, my final impressions after unboxing Footprints. I'm super looking forward to playing it, as you can obviously tell. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog barking in the background. My partner's just got home from work. So I'm going to try and wrap up this video now before she catches me recording. But anyway, that was my unboxing of Footprints. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please leave a like or consider subscribing, you know, all that good stuff. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye.